and his brother Braden, class of 2034. Repeat, 2034, that's pretty cool. Join me in appreciating them. Bryson has been a student at prep since the 8th grade. He has doggedly, or should I say pigedly, pursued excellence in two main disciplines, football and academics. These past 5 years have been filled with his steady efforts in the weight room, on the practice field, and with his studies. He's produced thrills for his fans, appreciation from his teammates and classmates and coaches and teachers. He's earned many awards, including All-Region, 3 years, All-State this past season, the WJBF Student Athlete Award, and most impressively, the Coca-Cola Gold Helmet Award, recognizing both his superior GPA and his outstanding skills on the football field. Bryson has some selected colleges that want him to continue his gridiron and classroom pursuits on their campus for the next 4 years. He'll be in Granville, Ohio this weekend visiting one of them, Denison University. Wherever he ends up, he plans to play football and study astronomy or physics. Outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, Bryson Cronan.
Before I start my speech, I would like to say a few thank yous. Thank you to my friends and family for always supporting me through my journey through high school and pushing me to be the best person I can be. Now for my speech, I chose to do a topic that has interested me, and that was space, or planets. The first thing you may think about when it comes to astronomy or planning anything related is Mr. Bowman and astronomy night. According to Merriam-Webster, astronomy is defined as, quote, the study of objects and matter outside the Earth's atmosphere and of their physical and chemical properties, end quote. Now, looking into our current solar system, there are a various number of planets with unique characteristics, ranging from the intense heat of Venus to the extreme winds of Neptune. But for my speech, I'll be focusing on the red planet, Mars, and the past and current explorations it has undergone. Looking back around 70 years ago, in 1962, the Soviets were the first to launch a number of probes to Mars. One of the probes, named Mars 1962B, did not make it to Mars, as the rocket and the payload broke apart and the engine ended up burning and falling to Earth 60 days later. Also, the Soviets were the ones to first make contact on Mars, with the Mars 2 lander and the Mars 3 lander. Both ended up failing as well, and Mars' 2 descent module crashed on the surface while it landed. The Mars 3 lander did manage a soft landing, but failed around 2 minutes later, most likely due to a powerful storm. There were many more failures by other countries too, but these are just a few of the main early ones. As you can see, it is a very difficult task to try and come in contact with Mars. To put it into numbers, only 25 out of 55, around 45%, were successful. Moving on towards 1975, NASA launched their Viking program, which was made up of spacecrafts. Viking 1 made the first successful landing on Mars and lasted for about 6 years, and Viking 2 also landed and lasted for about 3 years. The Soviets would send their probes, Phobos 1 and 2, to study the moons of Mars. Phobos 1 did lose contact on the way to Mars, but Phobos 2 was successful in getting photographs. Years later, in 1997, NASA released their Mars Global Surveyor, which orbited the red planet. This mission was a huge success and completed the mapping mission in 2001 and will last many more years later. In July of 1997, the first rover would successfully land on Mars, being the first wheeled vehicle to move on another planet. This rover was called Sojourner. The Sojourner rover would be the start of many rover-like missions to Mars. In 2004, NASA would send a rover to Mars called Spirit. Spirit successfully landed on the crater Gusev. It traveled about 300 meters, not too far from its landing site. 3 weeks later, another NASA rover called Opportunity landed on the opposite side of Mars. Opportunity was working for 14 years, lasting from 2004 all the way up until 2018. The rover found a meteorite called Heat Shield Rock and studied the Victoria crater. While Spirit got stuck in a soft soil site in 2010, Opportunity was able to recharge its battery more efficiently than past rovers. It was only expected to last around 3 months, but ended up lasting 57 times more than it was supposed to. Fast forward to 2012, NASA will launch the Curiosity rover, which was designed by the Mars Exploration System and was used to study the Gale crater. Along with the crater, Curiosity was exploring the climate and geology of the red planet. In 2017, it would be the fifth year anniversary for Curiosity, and it will continue to search the planet of Mars. Curiosity is still functional to this day in 2023, but moving on to the most recent and more advanced rover, we can now take a look at the 2020 Mars mission called Perseverance. The Perseverance mission was started in 2020 and is still going on. According to NASA's website, the Mars mission, just one of the goals, quote, focuses on surface-based studies of the Martian environment, seeking preserved signs of biosignatures and rock samples that formed in ancient Martian environments with conditions that may have been favorable to past life, end quote. Other goals include trying to prepare for one day to put human life on Mars. Unlike the Curiosity rover, Perseverance has a better wheel design, and also one of the major step-ups is that Perseverance contains a drill samples from Martian rocks and soil. It uses the technique of depot catching, which helps with collecting and preserving data. Essentially though, NASA intends to determine if there was ever life on Mars and plans to try and do that with the Perseverance rover. The NASA Perseverance mission was launched on July 30th, 2020, early morning, and it eventually landed on Mars on February 18th, 2020. The project costed a whopping $2.7 billion, with $2.2 billion of that going towards the development of the spacecraft and $243 million going to launch services, with around $300 million for scientific analysis, along with a bunch of other money for the testing period. The project was a long process and would eventually pay off. Here's a video of the Perseverance rover landing in February of 2020.
Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds and the heat shield has been separated. Sky sending overhead started. About 20 meters off the surface.
Getting signals from power off. Tango Delta.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
As you can see, this was a huge accomplishment for NASA, and this will lead to many more future projects. But for now, the Perseverance rover will be looking for any evidence of life and will evaluate rock formation to pave the way for future expeditions. The rover will collect core rock and multiple samples and store them on the surface. The collected rocks will be a part of the sample return mission that will try and get these samples back to Earth. From the time of landing up until December of 2022, Perseverance rover managed to take 215,000 photos. The picture on the slide is the very first photo captured in February 2021. Since its landing in 2021, Perseverance has continued to search and collect much evidence. In September of 2022, NASA says that Perseverance has found, quote, biologically interesting rocks in an ancient lake bed that could indicate past life that existed on the red planet billions of years ago, end quote. Also, according to NASA, along with these rocks, they found a number of them that contained possible traces of organic matter. But the Perseverance rover has not been the only thing searching for past evidence of life on Mars. It has had the help of a helicopter called Ingenuity. Ingenuity is a helicopter that has taken a controlled flight on Mars for the first time in history. It was attached to Perseverance and was released for a 30-day testing period. On its first flight, it it was released 2 months after landing, and it climbed 10 feet above and landed. This was a huge accomplishment because it has never been done before in another world. With the very thin air of Mars, it could have failed easily. It would outlast its testing period, and as of January 19, 2023, Ingenuity has made its 40th flight on Mars and will continue to make trips alongside Perseverance. Perseverance rover, to this day, is continuing to search the red planet. It will stay on Mars for some more time, collecting samples and discovering new evidence that NASA can use. As said before, the sample return mission from the early stages of Perseverance will return to Earth in around the early 2030s. NASA has a map and a blog that is updated with relevant information regarding the current mission. In the meantime, scientists will continue to analyze images and videos from the rover and will try to discover possible past life on Mars. And all of this, it sparks the question that is asked around the world: will humans ever live on Mars? As of right now, no. NASA and their team are still working on ways to be able to send humans to Mars. They say that they're trying to be able to send a human expedition to Mars in the early 2030s. Since Mars is insanely thin and the air is 96% carbon dioxide, it makes living conditions not viable. If you were to touch ground on Mars right now, you would probably last around a minute before your body completely shuts down. Also, the fact that there is 0.13% oxygen on Mars compared to Earth's 21%. With that being said, as my speech comes to a close, I would like to thank you all for listening. Hope you have learned something. And now I will end with a quote from Elon Musk. "I would like to die on Mars, just not on impact. Thank you."